Labeling fractions on a number line. Your learning target today is I can represent fractions on a number line, and you'll know you're successful when you can label a fraction number line by determining the numerator and denominator for each tick mark on the number line. So remember yesterday when we were talking about number lines and fractions? Well, we are going to be doing that today again, but a little bit more, by labeling the fractions on the number line. So remember, when we label a fraction number line, it always goes from 0 to 1. And that is because fractions that we are going to be working with are going to be those in-between numbers that are in between 0 and 1. So they're bigger than 0, but they're smaller than 1. They're in the middle. And we need to know what those fractions are and what that looks like. So remember yesterday, I had this little halfway point. And what fraction do you remember that being? That was 1/2. Nice job. And if you think about it, how many tick marks total do I have? I have 2 tick marks total if I do not count the 0, because I never count 0. And then remember, this is the first tick mark out of 2. So that's why it's 1/2. And it is halfway. So when I label a number line that will have more tick marks, I always have that halfway point, and then these ones. Do you remember what we did to figure those out? Well, we looked at how many tick marks total we have. How many total tick marks? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. And yes, remember, we do count the 1. So there's 4. So 4 is what? In the fraction. And every fraction I have in my number line, what will that be? The denominator will be 4, because that's how many tick marks total there are. And so we know that this is the first one, the second one, the third one, and then the fourth one. So that's 1/4, 2/4, we know is the same as 1/2. So there's 2 fractions going on there. 3/4 and then 4/4, which we know is equal to 1 whole. Let's try some new ones. So remind me, how do I label this number line? What goes at the front? A 0, of course. And what goes at the end? A 1. So I'm going to label this number line now with your help. And I'm going to do this. So I'm going to have a halfway point. I'm going to have some of these. And I'm going to add some more tick marks. There we go. So what's my big question? I need to figure out what the denominator is for each tick mark that I have on my number line. So I have to ask myself, how many tick marks total are there on this number line? And which tick mark do I not count? 0, that's right. So how many total do I have? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. Okay, so my denominator is going to be an 8, since there are 8 total, right? So that means that's my denominator, the bottom number of my fraction. Okay, so that's going to be an 8. This is going to be an 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, and then 8. Okay, so how do I label this? Well, this is the first one. This is the second, third, fourth. You're getting the picture, right? We're just counting each tick mark, counting by ones. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to fix this 7 because it kind of looked like a 2. I don't want you to get confused. There you go. That looks better. All right. So just something I want you to keep in mind. Here's that halfway point again. 4/8. I hope you're noticing that 4 is half of 8, and that is the halfway point. So we know that that is also the same as 1/2. So far we know that 2/4 is the same as 1/2, and now we know 4/8 is the same as 1/2. They're always in the middle, and that's what I call an equivalent fraction. That means they are equal, they're the same. So just something I want you to keep in mind because we will be going over that again pretty soon. And that's really good information for you to know. All right, let's try some more. For this last one, before I have us start, I just want you to kind of notice how the tick marks that I have in between each one is I'm trying my very best to make sure that they're the same distance apart because it's very important that we see that this is accurate and that if we do have a halfway point, that it is right in the middle. And then that way, like I said, our fractions will be accurate and you can see what they look like. So just something to keep in mind. We'll try our very best to make sure that the distance apart between each tick mark is equal or the same. So for this last one, I want you to label this fraction number line. So you know what to do. Think about those things that we talked about, and I want you to label this fraction number line by labeling each tick mark that we have, except for, of course, a certain one that we never do. So please do that right now, and then you can check your answer when you're ready. Okay, so I hope that you counted the total amount of tick marks. I did not count 0 because that's the one we never count, and that's also the one we do not have to label because it's already done for us. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tick marks total that I saw. So the denominator in each fraction you have should have been a 6. And then it's as easy as counting the tick marks for our numerator, right? Well, that one after 0 is the first tick mark, and then we have the second, and then we have the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and the sixth, right? So I hope that you had 6 as your denominator, and then you counted by ones for each tick mark that you had. The one in the middle, I hope you're noticing, it is an exact halfway point, so that is 3/6, and that works. 3 is half of 6, right? So that is also the same as 1/2. We're learning a lot of equivalent fractions today. We learned that 1/2 is the same as 2/4 yesterday, and we also learned it was the same as 4/8, and it's the same as 3/6. Oh my, and believe it or not, there's even more than that. So just something to notice. Also, something I want you to notice is 6/6 right here. When our numerator and denominator are the same, what number is that the same as? 1 whole. That's why it's at the end of our number line. Great job today. Thank you. Remember your learning target today of I can represent fractions on a number line, and you'll know you're successful when you can label a fraction number line by determining the numerator and denominator for each tick mark on the number line.